This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning, Rabbi. We continue in the Navi Hoshea. We're speaking about the veering of the Aseres Hashvatim and the Yehuda and Binyamin, the Choili of Ephraim, and the Mazar of Yehuda in Parakeh, Pasuk Yud Beis. And therefore the Rebbeinu Shalom says, because of this, the diverting of Klal Yisrael, Ki anochi kashachal le'Ephraim, I will be like a lion to Ephraim, v'cha kfir lebeis Yehuda, and a kfir to the house of Yehuda. These are different two types of lions. The Mefarshim discuss what the difference between a shachal and a kfir is. We'll read the Malbim. The Malbim says, Kashachal v'cha kfir hahevdel shekasafti bifnim timtsaehu. Meaning the Malbim in his Be'er Ha'inyan, he explains the difference between a shachal and a kfir. The Malbim says, Ki eina choili umaka tiviya shiyuchal ish l'rapis ahatzal. This is not an illness, a natural illness that a person could be cured from. Ki ani hamaka bam. I'm the one who smites them. Kashachal ukakfir. Ukvar hiskiru b'sipurei hateva. If you look in the zoology books, ki ha'aryeh ba'oidoi tsar liyamim. When a lion is young, sha'az nikra b'shem kfir. So according to the Malbim, a kfir is a young lion cub. La yatsa chutz l'sukasa litra of tarfa. Does not leave the lair to tear its prey. Rak yeshiv b'sukkah. The young lion sits in a sukkah, in a hut, lamai, arav litref es akarvel menas levad. He only lays there quietly to be able to ambush something that chances into his lair. Uchshaba b'maimid ha'aryeh. However, when you come into the maimid of a lion, then the hashachal and the shachal, meaning shehu ha'aryeh hazakayin, az yatsa l'chutz litrav terfa lahavi lil v'yaisav. In other words, that's the difference between an aryeh and a kfir. A kfir does not go out of the sukkah, but a lion has his territory, and if you go anywhere near him, he's going to get you and bring back the prey. So therefore the Rebbeinu Shalom says, Ki anochi kashachal le'Ephraim v'cha kfir lebeis Yehuda. Why when it comes to Ephraim is Rebbeinu Shalom like a shachal, an adult lion, an old lion, and to Yehuda he's only like a kafir? So the Malbim says as follows. It says the Malbim that the reason is Kila Ephraim yidme keshachal shabami makam acher. To Ephraim he appears like a shachal who came from another place. Litroif tarfai kain ba Hashem aleim. Likewise God comes upon them. Mitzion Shesham Sukkah Yamainasa. God resides in Tzion. And therefore, when he goes out to Ephraim, he's like a shachal that is aggressive and proactively goes out of his territory to attack. But to Beis Yehuda, Rebbeinu Shalom is only like a kfir. Shetoiref b'makam asher shoichin sham. Hashem is tearing apart, so to speak, in the place that he resides. Ki mishkanei b'Yehuda. God resides in Yehuda. Therefore, the pasuk continues, Ani, Ani, it is I, it is I. Etroif, who tears, ve'elech, and who goes, Esa, the ein matzil. What is Esa? I will carry, meaning to carry off, and there you cannot be safe from me. Says the Malbim, Ani, Ani, Ratzalaim, ve'ech sheyia, ein ra'asam inyan tivi. However it is, it's not a natural illness. It's not mikri, it's not happenstance, it's not coincidental, but rather it's hashgachi, it's divinely conducted. Ki ani ani hu ha'toref, bein be'Ephraim, there in Ephraim where the Rebbeinu Shalom is toref, where the Rebbeinu Shalom goes to the nitraf to bring him back to his makom, and or in Yehuda where the Rebbeinu Shalom is Esa, he doesn't go there, he merely carries off. Eilech ashuva el makaimi. I will go and return to my place. Ad asher yeshemu, until you acknowledge your guilt, uvikshu fanai, and seek out my face. Batzar lahem, in their distress, yishacharunani, they seek me out. Let's see Rashi for a moment on the previous pasuk. Rashi says, Esa v'yein matzil, Esa sataraf, I will carry away the prey. Elech, says Rebbe Sham, because of the actions of Ephraim and Yehuda, I will go to my makom. What is my makom? I will retreat my shechina to the shamayim. Estalek mehem. I will remove myself from them. V'ashuv el hashamayim. I'll return to the heavens. Ad asher yeshamu. Yachziku atzmam ka'ashemim. Says Rebbe Sham, all I'm looking for, even before change, is the acknowledgement that they should consider that they did something wrong. L'hoidos al hashmasam, to admit their guilt. Yishacharunani, yivakshunani, they will seek me out. Says the Malbim, Elech. Says the Malbim pasuk tezvav, Elech negen mashakasav ani etroif. Corresponding to what the Rebbe Shalom said, I will tear apart. Ve'elech, he's saying, not only will I go from Ephraim to Yerushalayim, but I will retreat to my place, she'esrachik mitzion gamkein, and I will then go and retreat to the Shamayim completely. Ad asher yeshamu, until they return in tshuva, recognize their guilt. What? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now in Parak Vav begins, so to speak, the response of the Jewish people when they realize the Rebbe Shem has left them, and when the tragedy befalls Klal Yisrael, now is when they seek out Hashem and try to return. So they say, L'chu v'nashuv el Hashem. Go, and we will return to Hashem. Ki hu taraf, He is the one who tears. V'yir pa'enu, He will hear us. Yach, He is the one who smote us. V'yach b'shenu, He will bandage us. Says Rashi, L'chu v'nashuva. Yoimru, they say, the Jewish people say, L'chu v'nashuva. Yach, v'yach b'shenu. Yach lashon hoivahu, it's a present tense. Hu mako isanu, v'hu yach b'shenu. Says the Malbim, L'chu v'nashuva. The Amrai, when they say, Ki batzar lahem, that in distress yivakshu es pnei Hashem, yabia oimer, ma yoimru, az v'vakshem es Hashem. Now it's expressing, what do they say when they seek out a Hashem? And how does Hashem respond to them? The answer is, they say, L'chu v'nashuva ad Hashem. Ki hu taraf, He's the one who smote us. It's not natural, it comes from Him. Therefore only He could heal us. And regarding the internal chayli that needs a refuah, He will heal us. Regarding the outer wound, He will bandage us. Yabia, like yom liyom, yabia oimer. The laila, so yabia oimer, to express. Abiyarin anah is biyad mefalav. Yabia is to express, to articulate. Yabia oimer. He may have called it, it's like Gematria Avad Yosef or something, but Yabia oimer, to express, to articulate. Okay. So now we have a very interesting pasuk. Yichayenu mi oimayim. Ayoim hashlishi yekimenu v'nichya lefanav. Everyone know that pasuk Baal Peh? Okay, close your navi. I'm going to test you. Yeah? Yichayenu miyomayim. B'ayom hashlishi yekimenu v'nichya lefanecha. It's a very important pasuk. Lefana. Yichayenu miyomayim. He will bring us back to life after 2 days. B'ayom hashlishi, on the third day, yekimenu. He will raise us up, and nichya lefanav, we will live before Him. So what is this referring to? It says Rashi, Chayenu miyomayim, Yichazkeinu mishtei parana she'avra aleinu. He will strengthen us from the two punishments that passed over us. What are they? Mishtei mikdasha shecharvu, the two temples that were destroyed. B'yom hashlishi, and on the third day, b'binyan bayis hashlishi yikimenu, on the day of the third temple, with the building of the third Beis HaMikdash, He will raise us up miyomayim, from the two times that passed over us. B'yom hashlishi be'es hashlishi. In other words, according to Rashi, this is a reference to the building of the third Beis HaMikdash. Yechayenu miyomayim. He will strengthen us from the two tragedies that happened in our past, and by Yom HaShlishi, on the third day, meaning at the third time, Yikimenu, He will raise us up and we will live before Him forever. The Targum, Yonasan ben Uziel, says,
We're not going to be raised up in between the second and the third at all.
Of course not. Yeah, right. Says the Targum, Yechayinana liyomen echamasa. He will bring us alive, He will give us life for the day of consolation. The asidin lameisei, that are destined to come, b'yom achyus Messiah, on the day of the resurrection of the dead, Yikiminanana, He will raise us up, unechei kadamai, we will live before Him. So according to the Targum, it means He will bring us to life on the day of consolation to resurrect the dead. So Rashi learns it's a reference to the building of the third Beis HaMikdash. According to the Targum, it refers to Tchias HaMesim. Says the Malbim, Yichayenu miyomayim, ki aseres hashvatim galo ayidei Sancherev gimel pa'amim. The 10 tribes were exiled by Sancherev 3 times. Chumash Kasav, like it says, Ka'es Harishan Heikal. The first time was easy. Va'achron Hichbid. V'chein Shevet Yehuda galo gimel pa'amim. Like in Malachim Beis and in Yirmiyah. Therefore we ask, Yivakshu, Ki yichya oisa min hashnei yamim. Bring us alive, back to life from the 2 days, Shahayu Yimei HaPkuda, Uvayom HaShlishi, which is the third Galus, then we will be completely fallen. Yekimeinu min afilaseinu v'nechi lefanav. So the Medrash has a very interesting pshat on this pasuk. The Medrash is in Bereshis Rabbah, Parsha Nun Aleph, pasuk Aleph. Vayom hashlishi, vayisa Avraham eseinav. On the third day, and Avraham lifted up his eyes. Ksiv, says the Medrash. Good. Yechayenu miyomayim, vayom hashlishi yikimenu v'nechi lefanav. What this Medrash is referring to is, there's a concept that Hashem does not forsake Klal Yisrael for 3 days. What's the raya? It says by the Shvatim, Vayom hashlishi shel hashvatim. When the pasuk says, please bring us, Yechayenu miyomayim, give us life after 2 days. Vayom hashlishi, on the third day, the Rebbe Hashem will bring us back to life. What does that refer to? The Shvatim, the Chsiv, Vayomer aleim Yosef, Vayom hashlishi. On the third day, what did Yosef do? He imprisoned Shimon. Vayom aleim Yosef, Vayom hashlishi. What did he say?
Bring minyan.
No? Who remembers? We're passing a Chumash? Yeah? Okay, thank you. The pasuk says that after 3 days, what did Yosef do? He released Shimon. So what do we see from here? That Rebbe Hashem does not leave Klal Yisrael b'tzara for 3 days. Here we have what does the pasuk say over here? Vayesef el mishmar shloishes yamim. Vayomer aleim Yosef vayom hashlishi zoisasu v'chiyu eso Elokim ani yarei. So we see that Rebbe Hashem does not forsake Klal Yisrael for 3 days. So when it says Hashem bring us back to life after 2 days, on the third day we will resurrect and live before you, that refers to Yosef letting the Shvatim out of jail. Then the Medrash continues. Bayom Ashlishi Shel Meraglim, the third day of the Meraglim. This doesn't refer to the Meraglim in the Chumash, it refers to the Meraglim in the times of Yehoshua. Shenemar, V'nach Beisem Shama Shloishes Yamim. Rachav says, hide there for 3 days, and on the third day they lived. Then the Gemara says another pshat, the Medrash says another pshat. Bayom Ashlishi Shel Matan Torah. It refers to the third day of the giving of the Torah. Shenemar, Vayhi Bayom Hashlishi. So now the question is, how is that a situation where Klal Yisrael was distressed for less than 3 days, and on the third day, Hashem took them out of their misery? So the Medrash Yifei Tayar says, either the distress was the precious derech eretz, they had to separate from their spouse. So on the third day, so to speak, God saved them. He re-allowed relation between husband and wife. Or, says the Yifei Tayar, the tsar was, they were in such distress, they had such cheshek and taiva to hear the Dvar Hashem, that they were, so to speak, in misery, waiting to hear Hashem communicate with them. And finally, on the third day, Vayirat Hashem al Har Sinai. Says a Medrash another pshat in Yichayenu miyoymayim bayom hashlishi yikimenu v'nechya lefanav. Says the Medrash Yoina. What does it say by Yoina? Vayhi Yoina b'mei hadag shloisha yamim shloisha leilos. Another pshat in Sefer Ezra, Parak Ches, Pasuk Tes Vav. V'nachane sham shloisha yamim shloisha. They encamped there 3 days. Another pshat, Tchias HaMesim, will be after 3 days. Says the Medrash another pshat. It refers to the third day of Esther. What happened on the third day of Esther? Vayihi vayem hashlishi v'tilbash Esther malchus. Esther donned royalty, and she went into Achashverosh, and he was not going to extend the scepter, and he did. So on the third day, Rebbe Shem, so to speak, brought a Yeshua for Esther.
But in all these cases, Rebbe, that you cited, it's 3 days mamish.
3 days.
We're talking about 3 millennia or more.
No, so now we're saying 3 days. Now we're reading it literally. These Perushim are learning that Yichayenu miyoymayim, we ask Hashem, bring us back to life after 2 days, and on the third day, the Rebbe Hashem brings the Yeshua. So too, and the Medrash discusses, when we say Lav Shamalchus, that refers to Lav Shamalchus Beis Aviha, that she was able to gird herself in the royal garments of her father, meaning there's a chus avay stood up for her, and the Medrash wants to know what's the chus, either the chus of the third day of Matan Torah, or the chus of the Akedah. Okay, but bottom line is, Yechayenu miyoymayim, bayom hashlishi yikimenu v'nechya lefanav, the Medrash, in reference to the Akedah, the pshat would be very pashut, that the first 2 days, Avraham Avinu did not know where he was going, and vayhi bayom hashlishi, vayaras hamakoim, meirachak, he finally saw the destination on the third day. However, the Vilna Gaon has an incredible pshat in this Medrash. Again, the Medrash is saying, in reference to the Akedah, that this pasuk in Hoshea refers to the Akedah. How does it refer to the Akedah? That the pasuk is saying, Yichayenu miyoymayim, vayem hashlishi, yikimenu v'nechya lefanav. It means like this. We always try to invoke the zchus of the Akedah. But here's the problem. How could we invoke the zchus of the Akedah? But there's a problem. Schar mitzvah, b'hayam aleka. There's no reward in this world. However, we've mentioned that even though schar mitzvah b'hayam aleka, the Gemara says in Kedushin on Lamed Vav, but nevertheless, there's a rule that you don't get schar for the mitzvah, but for the hachana of the mitzvah and the preparation for the mitzvah and the zrizus for the mitzvah, that you do get reward in this world. So we know when it came to the Akedah, the actual Akedah was performed on the third day, right? However, the preparation and the zrizus and the Vayashkim Avraham Baboiker, Vayavaka Atzei Oila, all the hachanos and all the zrizus were the first 2 days. So that's the meaning of this pasuk. Yechayenu miyoymayim, Ribbon Shalom, you kept us alive from 2 days. Meaning, from the first 2 days of the Akedah, you kept us alive. All the thousands of years of Jewish history were nourished from the first 2 days of the Akedah. Because those days were not the days of the actual mitzvah. Those days were the days of the Hachana. Yechayenu miyomayim. You kept us alive from the 2 days. Bayoyim shlishi. But for the third day, when Avram Avinu actually performed the Akedah, that we never reaped any benefits from, because Char Mitzvah b'Hayam Aleka. That Yikimenu, you will sustain us. V'nichya lefanav in Olam Haba. Meaning, because for a mitzvah itself, Hayoim la'asoisam u'machar l'kabel scharam. In the future, the Yikimenu la'asad lavai in Olam Haba, the Ribbon Shalom will sustain us from the third day. Okay. Morav Rabbi says. Everyone with me? For the most part? Oh, okay, thank you. So that's the Akedah. That Yichayenu miyamayim. Hashem did keep us alive from the first 2 days of the Akedah. Vayom HaShlishi, for the third day of the Akedah, Yikimenu, for the actual mitzvah, He will keep us alive, v'nichya lefanav. And we will live before Him. One more thought. And therefore, Klal Yisrael turns to Ribbon Shalom, and Klal Yisrael says to Ribbon Shalom, V'neida'a, and we will know, Nirdafa, and we will run, L'adasas Hashem, to know God, Kishachar, like the morning, Nachayin Moitzai, whose exit is certain, meaning the morning star, the sun, for sure comes. V'yavai chageshem lanu. He will come like rain to us. Kemalkoish, like the late rain. Yoira, the early rain. Aretz, to the ground. Okay. So Mar Rabbi Sai will say one thought on this pasuk, and we'll continue with more Imers Hashem next time. Listen carefully to this pasuk. The pasuk is saying that Klal Yisrael says, we will know, we will run to know God like the morning. And Hashem will be like the rain to us. So we're asking Hashem to be like the rain. Most people come late. No. The Keshachar, like this. Kageshem lanu kemalkoish, yoira eretz. Yoira over here refers to satiate. It's a lesson of yiraveh. So the Gemara Masechta Tainis on the Avdalah says the following, that Klal Yisrael made an improper request over here. By asking Hashem to be like the rain, we made an improper request. But even so, Hashem responded to us properly. That Gemara is in the context that there were 3 people who made an improper request, and Hashem responded to them properly. Who were they? Says the Gemara, Eliezer Eved Abraham, and Shaul ben, who else? And Shaul and Yiftach HaGaladi. Says the Gemara, these 3 people made an improper request, and Hashem responded properly. What was the improper request of Eliezer? Eliezer said, I'm going to go down to the well, and I'm going to say, whoever gives me a drink, and whichever girl says, not only will I give you a drink, but I'm going to give your camels a drink, so Gemara says, well, maybe the girl that will come down to give a drink will be a cripple. Maybe she'll be a chigar, right? Says the Gemara, no, Ribbon Shalom responded properly, and who came their way? Rivka came their way. And then the Gemara says, you know who else made an improper request? Shaul. Because Shaul said, whoever smites the destination, I'm going to make very wealthy, and I'm going to give them my daughter. So what do you mean? Maybe it's going to be an Eved. Maybe it's going to be a Mamzer. No, so who smote Goliath? David HaMelech, right? V'nestamnim loy David. And Yiftach HaGaladi also made an improper request in Shoftim. He said, whoever, the first thing that comes out of my door, then what? I'll bring as a carbon. Or maybe it'll be a pig. So Hashem responded, in this case, improperly. And who was the first thing that came out of Yiftach's door? His daughter. So these are the three improper requests. Eliezer Eved Abraham, Shaul ben Kish, and Yiftach HaGiladi. Improper. That was an improper response. Says the Gemara, the Av Knesses Yisrael Shoala Shaloika Hagen. Klal Yisrael also made an improper request, but Hashem responded properly. Why? Because in the Navi Hoshea, the Navi says, "V'nei da'a nir defala das es Hashem kashachar nachayin moitzai v'yavai kageshem lanu." Hashem says, Klal Yisrael, you're asking for something. Sometimes it's needed, sometimes it's not needed. What does that mean? Rain is not always needed. You need rain when in the rainy season. You need rain when the crops need to grow. But in the harvest season, in the dry season, rain is a sign of a curse. Says Ribbon Hashem, I'll do you a favor. I'll be something to you that is always needed. So if you turn to Hoshea, Perek Yudalid, what does it say in Perek Yudalid? Hashem says, Yisrael. I'll be like the dew to the Jewish people. The Jewish people asked to be like that I should be like the rain to them, and Hashem said, I'll do even better. I'll be like the dew. Because the dew is always needed. Eyechatal Yisrael, Yifrach Kashoshana. Here's the question. What in the world is this conversation? Imagine Mr. Heimwitz, Klal Yisrael goes to God. God, be like the rain. So God said, no, I'm going to be like the dew. What is the meaning of this conversation? What's the back and forth? What does it mean that we want God to be like the rain? And what does God respond? I'm going to be like the dew. So who explains this?
Rain makes things grow, progress.
Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz. In the first drasha of Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz in the Yaros Devash, says the Rebbe Rabbi Yonasan. You ready? There's one major difference between the rain and the dew. The rain, the way the rain is created is that there's moisture down here in the oceans, in the lakes, in the atmosphere, and it rises as water vapor. It then condenses in the sky, and then it rains. So it starts off downstairs, and then it goes upstairs, and then back down. That's called Isarusa de la Sata, brings Isarusa de la Ela. The effects of downstairs affect what's going on in Shemayim. The dew, on the other hand, is straight moisture of the atmosphere that comes down. No moisture needed down here to go up. That's just called Isarusa de la Ela. So we turn to God. We say, Hashem, at least do the following to us, that if we do a little bit downstairs, you respond in kind and give us siyata d'shmaya. Meaning, Ribbon Shalom, we will put in our best effort. Pischuli Pesach Kechuda Shel Machat, meaning we'll open up a little bit and then you'll open up the rest of the way there. And the Ribbon Shalom says, I'll do even better. I'm not going to be like the rain. I will be like the dew. The dew, no isarusa de la sata required. It's straight up heavenly assistance without effort down here.
But
So
the benefit of the dew is not like the benefit of the rain. You can't grow crops just with dew. You need the rain. It has a little moisture. You can't live on the dew.
yeah, that's true. Ultimately, you always need the rain. But Hashem is telling Klal Yisrael, you should have asked better. You should have asked that even if you are not on the Madrega to take the first initiation and to take the first steps to do tshuva, you should have asked, so allow me to come and inspire you without even effort on your part. Okay, Rabbi says, so this is the meaning of this pasuk in Hoshea, Perek Vav, pasuk Gimel, that we ask Ribbon Shalom, V'yavai chageshem lanu, And the Gemara in Tainus says on Daf Daled that the Rebbeinu Shem responds in Perek Yud Daled, I will do better, Eya Chatali Yisrael, and that is the explanation of Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz. Okay, Rabbi Say, have a great day.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.